You're driving home, the lights come on behind you, you pull over, the officer walks up to your window and before asking for your license, he asks one single question: where are you coming from? And right in that moment, what you say or what you don't say can change everything. If you are an immigrant, documented or undocumented, that one question is not small talk. It is a legal trigger. And most people have no idea that they don't have to answer it. Not because they're hiding something, but because the Constitution of the United States says so. Stay with me for the next few minutes, because what I'm about to share with you is something every immigrant in this country needs to know before they ever get behind the wheel again, or walk out of their front door. My name is Raymond Crivello. I'm a senior immigration analyst and consultant, and on this channel I break down complex immigration developments into clear, fact-based analysis you can actually understand. I don't do fear, I don't do rumor, I do facts, I do policy, and I do real-world preparation so that you and your family are never caught off guard. Before we go further, an important note: I am not your attorney, and this content is for educational and informational purposes only. Always consult with a licensed immigration attorney about your specific case. What I share here is to inform and empower you, not to replace legal counsel. Now, let's talk about what is actually happening on American roads and what your rights are when a police officer asks you that question. Let me explain exactly what is happening when a police officer asks you, "Where are you coming from?" or "Where are you going?" This is not a casual conversation. Law enforcement is trained to use these questions as a tool. They're called consensual encounter questions, and the goal is to establish what's called reasonable suspicion, which is the legal threshold that allows an officer to detain you, search your vehicle, or escalate the stop into something much more serious. Here's how the trap works. You say, "I was just at a friend's house in Southside." The officer already has a mental note: the neighborhood, the time, a recent incident nearby. Suddenly, your innocent answer has created a connection in his mind that did not exist before you opened your mouth. Or imagine this. You say you were at the grocery store, but you're coming from the opposite direction. Now there's a contradiction. And contradictions, even innocent ones, give officers legal justification to push further. But here's where this becomes critical. The American Civil Liberties Union, the ACLU, is one of the most authoritative legal organizations in the United States on civil rights, and their official guidance on police stops is unambiguous. You do not have to answer any questions about where you are going, where you are traveling from, what you are doing, or where you live. This is not a suggestion. This is a constitutional right. It is protected under the Fifth Amendment, the right to remain silent, and the Fourth Amendment, protection against unreasonable searches and seizures. You are required to identify yourself in most states, meaning give your name, and during a traffic stop you must provide your license, registration, and proof of insurance. But beyond those documents, you have the right to stay silent. The exact phrase you use matters. According to the ACLU, the most legally protective thing you can say is simply this: "I am exercising my right to remain silent." That is it. No explanation, no apology, no story, just that sentence. You say it calmly, you say it respectfully, you do not argue, you do not raise your voice, and you do not answer the question. Now, some of you are thinking, "Raymond, if I say that, won't they think I'm guilty of something?" That is the exact psychological pressure police encounters are designed to create. But consider this: an innocent person exercising a constitutional right looks no different to the law than an innocent person who doesn't know they have that right. The difference is, one of them is protected and one of them isn't. This is what many immigrant communities are misunderstanding. Silence is not guilt. Silence is a right, and it is one of the most powerful tools you have. Now, I want to introduce you to something called the red card. This is a physical card developed specifically for immigrants who may feel uncomfortable speaking during a police encounter, whether due to language barriers, fear, or trauma. The red card is available through the National Immigration Law Center, the NILC. You show this card to the officer instead of speaking. The card states clearly, in English and often in multiple languages, "I am exercising my right to remain silent. I do not consent to a search. I want to speak to a lawyer." You do not have to say a single word. You hand the card. That's it. I will link the NILC red card resource in the description below. Print it, laminate it, keep it in your glove compartment. Now let's talk specifically about traffic stops, because the rules shift slightly when you are behind the wheel, and I want to make sure you understand exactly what you must do and what you don't have to do. When you are pulled over while driving, there are 3 things you are legally required to provide: your driver's license, your vehicle registration, and your proof of insurance. That is it. Show those 3 documents without hesitation. After that, every other question: where are you coming from? Do you have anyone else in the car? What do you have in the trunk? You may decline to answer. You may simply say, I am exercising my right to remain silent. But here's one detail most people are missing. If an officer asks, are you a United States citizen? This is a question that undocumented immigrants and even some visa holders face with particular anxiety. Here is the legal reality. In the interior of the United States, you are generally not required to answer questions about your immigration status during a routine traffic stop. Border checkpoints operate under different rules, but on a regular road, in a regular traffic stop, your right to remain silent covers this question too. Now, I want to be honest with you. Knowing your rights and having the courage to exercise them in a high-pressure moment are 2 very different things. Your heart is pounding. There's a uniformed officer at your window. Every instinct might tell you to just answer the question and make it go away. That's why preparation matters. That's why we talk about this now, not in the moment of a traffic stop, because the decision to exercise your rights should be made before you ever pull over, not while your hands are shaking on the steering wheel. I want you to imagine a man I'll call Carlos. He came to the United States from Guatemala 14 years ago. He has a work permit. His 2 daughters were born here. He works the early shift at a warehouse. And every morning before the sun comes up, he's on the road. One morning, he gets pulled over for a broken tail light, something he didn't even know was broken. The officer looks at him and says, where are you coming from at this hour? Carlos panics. He starts explaining the warehouse, the shift, the address, the company name. He's nervous, so his English comes out broken. He confuses the street names. The officer notes the inconsistency. The routine stop becomes a prolonged detention. Carlos misses his shift. He gets a call from his wife. Now, in Carlos's case, nothing catastrophic happened that day. But the fear that settled into his family after that, it didn't go away. His daughters started worrying every time he left for work. His wife began driving him just so he wouldn't be alone if it happened again. What Carlos didn't know, what nobody had told him, is that he had the right to hand over his license and say nothing else. That one piece of knowledge could have ended that encounter in 3 minutes instead of 40. That's why this channel exists, because information is protection, and protection is peace. Now I want to give you something concrete. This is your 5-step action plan. What to do before, during, and after any police encounter. Step 1. Get the red card. Go to the NILC website, the National Immigration Law Center. Download and print the red card. Keep one in every vehicle you own. Give one to every adult in your household. This is your silent voice when words fail you. Step 2. Know your 3 documents: license, registration, insurance. Practice handing these over calmly. Practice saying, I am exercising my right to remain silent. Say it out loud right now if you need to. Make it a reflex. Step 3. Do not consent to searches. If an officer asks to search your vehicle, you may say, I do not consent to a search. Say it clearly. Say it once. Do not argue further. If they search anyway, that's a legal issue your attorney handles later, but your verbal non-consent is on record. Step 4. Document everything after. Once the stop is over and you are safe, write down everything you remember. The officer's badge number if you saw it, the patrol car number, the time, the location, and exactly what was said. This information becomes critical if you need legal support later. Step 5. Consult a qualified immigration attorney. If you had an encounter with law enforcement and you are unsure how it might affect your immigration status, speak to a licensed immigration attorney as soon as possible. Do not wait. Do not assume it was nothing. Get professional guidance. Now let's zoom out and talk about the bigger picture, because individual rights don't exist in a vacuum. They exist inside a policy environment that is actively shifting. Across the country, the legal landscape for immigrants has changed significantly in recent years. Some cities and counties have adopted what are called sanctuary policies, meaning local law enforcement has limited or no obligation to cooperate with federal immigration enforcement during routine police encounters. Other jurisdictions actively cooperate with immigration and customs enforcement through what are known as 287G agreements. What this means for you is simple. The zip code where you live can affect how a police encounter unfolds. Knowing your local policies matters. Your immigration attorney can help you understand the specific landscape in your area. There is also ongoing litigation across multiple federal circuits challenging the scope of immigration enforcement powers, specifically what officers can and cannot legally ask during routine traffic stops. Courts have not given a universal final answer on all of this. The law is still evolving. This protection may not be permanent in every form, which is exactly why you need to stay informed. Not because the situation is hopeless, but because knowledge is your first line of defense, and it has to be current knowledge. I want to be clear, the rights I've described today, the right to remain silent, the right against unreasonable search, these are constitutional protections. They require legal challenges to overturn. They do not disappear with a single policy change. But how they are applied, in courts, in the field, in enforcement priorities, that does shift. And I will keep you updated on this channel every time it does. I want you to understand why all of this matters beyond just one traffic stop. Your immigration status is not just a legal classification, it is the foundation of your entire life in this country. It determines whether your family stays together, whether you can work legally, whether you can build financial security, whether your path to permanent residency or citizenship stays open or gets closed. One encounter, mishandled, can create a record. One admission, made in panic, can become evidence. One moment where you didn't know your rights can cost years of progress. I'm not saying this to frighten you. I'm saying it because the stakes are real, and real stakes demand real preparation. You have worked too hard. Your family has sacrificed too much to lose it because nobody told you that you had the right to stay silent. Now you know. If you want accurate, fast, and reliable immigration updates, subscribe to Raymond Crivello right now and turn on notifications. Immigration policy is changing rapidly, and staying informed is no longer optional. It's essential. If this video helped you, drop a comment below. Tell me your visa category. Tell me where you're from. Tell me what questions you have. I read every comment, and your question might become the next video. Share this video with someone who needs it. A family member, a coworker, a neighbor, because the information in this video costs nothing to share, and it could mean everything to someone who doesn't know their rights. And if you found this content valuable, hit the like button. It tells the algorithm that factual immigration coverage matters, and it helps this channel reach more people who need it. I'm Raymond Crivello. Stay informed, stay protected. I'll see you in the next one.